All right, 002. Today we are going to look at the first Greco-Persian War. So, as we remember, we'll come back to the vocab in a second, but as we remember, the Greeks had light cavalry, lightly armored horse soldiers, but very heavily armored hoplites, very heavily armored infantry or foot soldiers. In Persia, it was the opposite. They had very heavily armored chariots that were always ready for fights, and lightly armored foot soldiers who came from countries that were ruled by Persia but might not be super loyal to Persia. Now, the Athenian general Themistocles, who was going to lead the war against the Persians, had a big problem. The Persians' army was much bigger than his. So he had to figure out how to use his smaller army to fight the Persians' bigger army. And he came up with a plan. He used the landscape. So the landscape is the land around a location. This includes lakes, hills, forests, swamps, and rivers. And Themistocles, he looked at something and he went, you know what? If I can get rid of these Persian chariots of their best weapon, we might be able to beat them even though they got more people. So he came up with a plan. When the Persians invaded, they landed near a place called Marathon. They had 26,000 soldiers. Themistocles and the Greeks only had 11,000. The Persians landed their soldiers right next to a swamp. And Themistocles came up with an idea. He made sure he put his camp, his soldiers, across the swamp from the Persian camp. So to get to him, the Persians had to go through the swamp with their chariots. And when they tried to bring their chariots over the swamp, they sank into the swamp just like the car from today's Do Now. Now, after they sank into the swamp, the Persians decided, you know what? Let's send our foot soldiers in. So they took their boats, they went around the swamp and landed their foot soldiers here. But the Greeks had stronger foot soldiers than the Persians. So once the Persians tried to fight them only on foot, without the cavalry, without the soldiers on the chariots, the Greeks were able to use their own cavalry, their own horses, to go around the Persian army and to defeat them. Eventually, the Persians ran away back to their ships and ran back to Persia. Now, the Greeks, they just won. But Marathon was 26 miles from Athens. So a runner named Philippides was given the job of taking the message to Athens to tell them that the Persians had lost the battle. He ran so fast and so hard over those 26 miles, and he had already been hurt in the battle, that by the time he got to Athens, he only had time to tell them that the Athenians had won and the Persians had lost, and then he dropped dead on their doorstep. Now, news also reached our friend King Darius, the Persian king, about his army's defeat. And King Darius was so angry about losing this fight to the Athenians and to the rest of the Greeks that he told one of his servants, like this guy right here, every night before he went to bed, the servant was supposed to whisper in his ear, "Great King Darius, remember those disgusting Greeks who beat you." So Darius would always remember that he needed to get his revenge against the Greeks. Alright, guys, that's it for right now. Have a good day. I'll see you at 9:30.